Hello everyone, how you doing? How you feeling? It's a beautiful day for some New York Region League of Legends finals. We got two amazing teams lined up. We got Syosset Lowell versus Schenectady Lowell. Gonna be a good time, not only getting to say those schools over and over again throughout the broadcast, but getting to see what their players are bringing to the table. They're already loaded into the lobby, so both I and Locust will be very excited to see what goes on here. Locust, what are you looking forward to seeing in this best of three?
I'm so excited to see what kind of picks both of these teams pull out in an attempt to bring this championship home. This is the finals. This is where it counts the most, and we've got a best of three to show that off. So we'll get to have to play around each other and try and adapt to the style that they see coming out from their opposing team. Excited to see that happen here today.
And it looks like we do have a substitution in on the roster as well. Uja being in the lineup here for Syosset. So going to be, looks like Clouby not going to be up on the roster today. So not sure what happened, but I know that Clouby's lending that energy from the sidelines. There was a really deep sub roster pool on the side of the Syosset Lowell team. So glad to see somebody could step up and hopefully they're able to do their job. Bans flying across the board and Kazakh's being the first pick there.
Yeah, that's an interesting first pick here on the side of blue. We don't see that a ton. And the set Elise immediately coming out. Elise is a champion that we've seen as kind of a pseudo counter to Kazakh's. Hard to catch her isolated because those little spiders jump out when she hops into spider form. So we're gonna have to see how that goes on the side of Schenectady here.
I'm excited to see Elise in the revamped little rework jungle with the Pokemon that you get to level up. It's gonna be really helping her clear the jungle so much faster. She's definitely one of those single target focused kind of junglers. After that first Spiderling pops, you really only can attack down one jungle monster at a time. So all the extra attack being lent to those camps will just help her that much faster, and she is such an oppressive ganker. She's going to be unlocked on the map. Malphite and Samira being the response picks there. They're really diving. They're going in.
Yeah, absolutely. That Malphite's going to try and ult. The Samira is going to be dashing around, and hopefully in the chaos, Kazakh's can find some isolated targets and make some executes happen. But we'll have to see how that goes. We're seeing Set and Mordekaiser probably as the solo lanes here for Schenectady. They could flex around to a few different positions, but I'm guessing we'll see that Set. Maybe even the positions we're seeing here, Mordekaiser mid, Set top, maybe Set mid, Mordekaiser top. A little bit hard to tell.
In the Florida State Finals yesterday, we saw the Mordekaiser jungle come out, but not to great effect. He did end up basically becoming non-existent because of how great a job the other jungler was able to do at really taking away his tools. Even if he showed up to the pit to try to ult that enemy jungler out, he was not even going to be able to win those 1v1s. And, you know, interesting to see if that does lend for the Elise to switch around and stuff like that. You know, this is a whole new season, a whole new preseason, and a lot of creative minds that will come into these best of three situations. You can kind of really limit test your first game, sandbag as much as you want, and try get away with some things, not only for the guts, but for the glory. And they could be doing something like that here, but it probably will be a very traditional set support, Elise jungle, and then that Mordekaiser in the top lane.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of support bans here. We've got a Bard, a Yumi, and a Janna all taken off the table. Syosset still needs to pick their support. We are going to see the Jhin locked in on the side of Schenectady. We'll have to see what the support is going to be. We're going to see that Samira matchup against that Jhin.
I would definitely be afraid to be this Jhin in this situation. If they are on the back foot on these engages, if Syosset is able to really hit that go button on top of this Jhin, and they're continuing to layer that in with the Ahri and now the Nautilus, just point and click and, you know, lock down movement, amplify damage, and, you know, allow for a lot of follow-up from the team that they've drafted. And then on the other side of things, Schenectady have some great answers. Morgana, that's actually going to be an amazing answer. That Black Shield that comes out is just going to be able to allow Jhin so much freedom, especially if he goes with something like the mobility options that he can go with in his build. But we'll see if that is the option that they go with. But for now, we have two really great team comps here. A very dive focused comp to come out from Syosset, and then more flexible and responsive comp that can really re-engage and mix up fights from the Schenectady lineup.
Yeah, it could be pretty scary if all of Syosset jump on top of that Morgana and then eat a 5-person ultimate. Got to be really careful about how you dive against that team. Or even the set, you try and burst down that set a little bit too quickly, and suddenly he has a 1500 health shield and he's doing half your health and true damage with his W. So definitely, Schenectady has the tools to deal with some of the dive. It's going to depend on who gets ahead in the early game here. Yeah, should be an exciting one.
Yeah, now with the way that support rune, well, it's not necessarily a support rune, but it's like the glacial augment that you're able to grab. How much utility that lends now to fights. Really just going to benefit this Morgana. And then she's also then able to go with Hex Flash. That just lends into even more aggressive positioning. That Samira is going to be able to deny a couple of the Qs, but those dark bindings are going to keep coming. And, Okie Doki's really going to have to stay on their feet. Or else Kushi's going to have to start absorbing a lot of those. And then Jin, with those force shots, is going to be able to do so much damage. Schenectady have a lot of great answers to this blue side, priority picks that came out from the Syosset squad.
Yeah. On the side of Syosset, I feel like they have to get that Samira ahead and maybe get some gold on the Kazakhs as well early. I feel like Ari and Malphite offer so much utility, as well as that Nautilus, that no matter how those lanes go, they should be okay. But if that Samira and that Kazakhs aren't ahead, I feel like those those players are going to get shredded by the AoE of Mordekaiser trying to move into those team fights.
Yeah, that's going to be a disruptive Mordekaiser coming out the mid lane. The set will go to the top lane. And set, just, we could talk about this character forever. He is exactly about what he says he's about. He's really about those brawly, getting into the thick of things and exploding people once he's racked up, and then just getting good positioning with that W. And then the ultimate, the way he's able to just reposition someone, go behind the carry and bring them forward into his team, into this Elise, Mordekaiser, Morgana, the follow up with the Jin with the W. Just so many tools that they're going to be able to rely on here. A lot easier to pull off. I kind of feel like I use that as a crutch a lot with looking at team compositions here, but I think that if they're able to scale to the mid game, the Schenectady squad have just pulled off a composition here that is just very, very easy. In response to what they have to play against, like they're going to be able to black shield the Jin. He's going to be able to be mobile. Mordekaiser can yank anybody out the fight, and he's going to be a threat because it's a mid lane Mordekaiser. He's going to have so much stats. Elise is going to have great tempo in the jungle and deny the Kazakhs from really being able to just isolate her down, like you mentioned. And it's a lot of great tools that they have.
Yeah, both of these teams, I feel like, have pretty decent damage composition, so neither of these teams are going to get outscaled too much in the late game. It's just going to come down to how those fights happen, and who gets some of these objectives moving towards that late game.
Absolutely.
I feel like if Schenectady can get ahead, then they can kind of just play the slow game and try and make those picks and then get those objectives, because I don't really know if you want to team fight the Malphite Samira, if you can help it. But if Syosset get ahead and have control over those objectives, you don't want to walk towards a dragon when there's 5 members of Syosset on top of it. You're asking to get Malphite ulted in the middle of the jungle, and that will spell doom.
Yeah, Uja, the sub coming into the day, definitely has a lot on their shoulders here. Picking that colossal pick there in the top lane is going to be able to either go crazy with those ultimates or hit nobody and really bait the team into some really bad exchanges, So it's going to be really integral for this main person here in the top lane to not get out bullied by this set, to be able to pick out the CS, to get levels up, to get to a level 2 ultimate, and be able to travel around the lane without giving too much away.
Yeah. I'm actually noticing 2 subs here on the side of Syosset. The lineup I'm seeing here is Chicken Say What and Clouby. Are both not in, and Okie Dokie and Uja are the 2 subs coming in. on the day. So that Samira and the Malphite. But yeah, strong squad from Syosset here, having 10 members on their roster here. So a lot of different swaps that they could make. That's really beneficial. You know, it allows you to kind of focus on more specific champions and more specific play styles, and then kind of swap people around. So that's really cool to see, especially from a high school league.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. I'm seeing in the chat that Kha'Zix is Grandmaster. No one on the other team is even flat. If that's true, chat, we are in for a Love Aurora show, and it's starting off here with the evade here onto the Tri-Brush. Gonna be locked down, and lethal cuts will be lethally cut for first blood.
Yeah, and they get the gold on the Kha'Zix. That's gonna make his clear substantially faster as he picks up probably a longsword here. Yep. And control ward. Can establish some vision control as well. Have to see how Love Aurora here is able to transition this into an advantage. Also taking that first strike on the Kha'Zix, definitely a snowbally rune, where if he's able to find people and isolate him, it's going to start snowballing that gold advantage very quickly.
We will possibly see a ballooning Kha'Zix opening things up, and gonna have this red buff in tow, whereas the Elise, needing those resources, needing those cooldowns, will opt for the blue buff, which I like as a jungler. You get to have that red buff when it's time to gank. It's more fresh. You know, you don't have to use it all just to clear your jungle. You can really aid in some ganks later on. But for now, Love Aurora will just do the pathing as well as Human Moo. And a nice call out here on the transition to lane. The Nautilus just so good level 1. And yeah, forcing out the flash.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage to take if you're Schenectady at the start of that laning phase. Morgana is going to have some potions. If she wants to stay, she can chug those and maybe get through some of that damage, but definitely putting them at a disadvantage not having that flash on the Morgana. We'll see if they try and punish that moving forward.
If there's anyone that I could expect to know that Morgana timer and want to do something before it comes back up, it's Love Aurora on this Kha'Zix. He is going to, no doubt, be salivating at the thought of picking up that Morgana. Already has first blood onto the sets. Make a trip up, down, left, right. Hit a couple more buttons, and then it seems like the cheat code is activated.
Ooh, and Love Aurora actually is making his way in towards that Elise's red buff here. Might try and steal it away before Elise can actually get there in time. Might see a little bit of a scuffle there around that red buff.
That would be so important for Human Moo to get some vision on, but Love Aurora is going to kick into the base for a minute and then just do optimal premium damage, going crazy. Nice job by Human Moo to try to get away from things in the flash at perfect timing, because Love Aurora had the kill down the sights, was able to get so much work done with that pressure though. It's going to clean up this red buff and then probably even be able to take the big Krug.
Yeah, and this isn't the greatest feeling if you're Human Moo here. Not getting all of your camps on your first clear is not the greatest, and you know, you can tell that Kha'Zix is going to be ramping up even more. Just got a little bit more first strike gold as well. Definitely using that advantage to the greatest ability here on this Kha'Zix.
Great stuff, at least for Human Moo to try and go grab this Scuttler before the double scuttle does also come in. Down in the bot lane though, exchanges are heating up as Samira is ramping up. Okie dokie, gonna get a big kill there on that Morgana, who was flashless, just playing up a little bit too far in the lane.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job of zoning out this Jhin as well. The Elise in the bush, they don't have vision of it, is going to get the cocoon onto Samira here, but they aren't actually able to finish that kill. With the cleanse and the flash, Okie dokie is able to slide on out of there.
The single digit escape from Okie dokie, so important for this massive lead that they've continued to already build up. 2,000 in the first 4 minutes. That's a stat. That's crazy.
Yeah, and most of that coming from that jungle and that ADC role. Oh, looks like we might see a fight here in the mid lane, and oh, it's so close. Oh, Aurora does clean that up. We're gonna see the Elise versus the Kha'Zix, but there's so many creeps here for the Kha'Zix.
Down this Elise, will he be able to jump onto him? No, the cocoon comes out, denies the advance from Love Aurora, but pushing out this wave is this Fed Kha'Zix now, 34 CS, 36 CS, excuse me, and continuing to grow as the level advantage is even thicker. I think that's a level 5 to a level 3 jungler there, and just jumps right over the wall and continues to ravage through what Human Moo would like to go back and have for himself.
Yeah, Elise actually hasn't gotten a camp since she took that red buff. She got those 4 camps and then moved up to that red buff and hasn't managed to secure another one of her own camps since. Still stuck on that 16 mark, so definitely does not feel good on this Elise.
Elise going to have an opportunity now to get some resources. Grump, Wolves, perhaps, but getting possibly called in to fight here. I think the communication would be, y'all, I'm level 3. There's no way I can be there. Please play a bit safer so I can get into some of these resources.
Yeah, and this is tough. Morgana's about to have her flashback, but the lane might be a little bit too far gone at this point as Samira is snowballing out of control. Already almost double up on Jhin in farm.
Big lead. Only going to get bigger as things move forward as well, because Jhin, one of those carries that just really is so item dependent. When he's behind, you feel it. Really similarly to a Caitlyn, you know? Like, you're just trying to auto-attack waves. For him, it's even more difficult to just auto-attack waves because you have to reload, and if there's the threat of a Nautilus and a Samira, possibly a Kha'Zix about to just dive you at all times, you're not going to have a great time.
Yeah, even farming under turret as Jhin in these early levels with that slower attack speed, needing to reload, can be really, really tough. So I like the decision from Syosset to try and shove that wave in. And they are converting this into another advantage for the Kha'Zix. It's going over, taking that blue buff, not allowing this Elise to have many of her own camps.
Everything looking great on the side of Syosset, though, here in the first 7 minutes. Stacking their objectives, stacking their leads across the lanes. The Malphite even having a relatively good time against this set. That Q from the Malphite just stealing that movement speed and making it so difficult for lethal cuts to come in.
Yeah, we're seeing this early sheen from the Malphite. What do you think that that's going to be built into?
Can you do the Iceborne glove out of it still?
Yeah, maybe you can do Frosty Gloves out of it now.
I think you can Frosty glove it.
On the new patch. Okie dokie, going in.
Maybe he's expecting to just win lane and wants to be able to fight, but there is the suplex to come out from the set. Not going to be able to follow up, though, because of the movement that Malphite was able to do with the ultimate. Not going to use it to continue the fight. Going to use it to head out and dodge. And blue team securing a dragon while that pressure is absorbed.
Oh, and Elise is going to try and make something happen here. Malphite, extremely low health. Oh, he's going to take that full W, but manages to actually get the kill back with the Q on the set as the camera transitioned away there. So, a good trade there in a bad situation for Uja.
Kept lethal cuts just close enough, and man, that was some really great trade work in that 2v1 situation. Little squabble from Syosset. They take more than they give, and that is a great thing to do in a game where this gold that starts to just feed into these stats and feed into your ability to delete people off of the map so important. And now, as I say that, it is going to be 1v9 Vlad trying to delete. Uziko will definitely get the opportunity here and will get the killing blow. Very close there, though. Was almost about to drop the ball there, but great job.
Yeah, 1v9 Vlad, definitely the fresh, or the breath of fresh air here for Schenectady. Every other lane here is having a little bit of trouble, but this Mordekaiser is looking big. Level 9, looking to get in this fight here and maybe turn some things around. Is going to get the kill onto the Nautilus. Try and fight here. Does get isolated and taken down by that Kha'Zix. Uja, nowhere to go. Has the flash available, but will not use it.
Yeah, but nice job by the cleanup crew here of Schenectady. Now, Love Aurora in the sights. The Rift was actually picked up by Malphite, so they will be able to plow down that top lane sometime shortly here. and that will just open up so much of that rotation, death ball gameplay that the Malphite can be so proficient at. If they choose the right place to put him and have the right follow-up behind it, anywhere that Syosset chooses to go will be a kill zone. But as I say that, Schenectady playing with fire.
That was a pretty high value black shield, tanking that Nautilus ult and the hook, able to just walk right on out of there.
And that kind of shows exactly what they could do for this Jhin if he's able to get to be that scary late game carry that Syosset wants to dive onto. He's going to have so much protection from that black shield, and then after that 1v9 Vlad can just take another person that's diving on. Lethal Cuts can suplex somebody away and do some great dive work. Oh, Hook gonna go a little bit short there over to the right. Fogbringer just keeping the fancy feet on.
Yeah, you were mentioning early on in this game there was a 2k gold lead for Syosset off the bat in that first 4 minutes. Schenectady has done a really good job of keeping that about the same. We're at about the 11-minute mark here, and we're still at about that 2k difference, which they've been holding on quite well to.
Sometimes it's not about getting an advantage, it's about keeping it from getting any bigger. And as we say that, Fogbringer getting the killing blow from Okidoki here in this bot lane exchange. Things are going to keep going as well. Onto Human Moves, going to come down, but nowhere to go. Oziko was there with waiting arms and Love Aurora to follow. Assist is in tow, and now they will try this raid boss of 1v9 Vlad. That is a massive dent out of Love Aurora's health bar. They do not like that.
Yeah, that's one situation as Kha'Zix where you actually don't want to be isolated with your opponent in that death realm, but masterfully using that Kha'Zix ultimate to buy the time needed to make sure that he can get out of that death realm and have his team to help take down that raid boss.
Things heating up here into the 12 minutes, and maybe a bit of caster curse to come out. Schenectady was doing such a great job at weathering the storm that Syosset were trying to brew, but they find their opening, they swing, and they don't miss.
Yeah, that 3-kill swing, huge for Syosset here. That Kha'Zix is so massive. 3-0-2 and 93 farm already at the 12:30 mark. Very scary.
And then you see how perfect the timing is as well. Still going to be able to grab everything on spawn. We'll see if it does go to the top lane. First grab these 2 camps, then have that red buff. Be right in time for Dragon. Like, this is some methodical, robotic jungle gameplay. Like, there is nothing that is being left unaccounted for on the side of Love Aurora, and that's why we're seeing a huge gold lead. It's mainly inside of this Kha'Zix Elise matchup.
Yeah. Ucha also in a good place to TP down if necessary on that Malphite for this big team fight. 1v9 Vlad though going in, gonna get some damage here on the Ahri.
Ooh, that hurts.
That is a big chunk right before Dragon. Is gonna have to reset, but it doesn't look like the rest of Schenectady is in a good position to try and burst down that Dragon, take advantage of that. But they are grouping around it.
Yeah, great calls here by the Schenectady LoL squad to mobilize onto this objective, but a great counterplay. Uja says, okay, you guys all want to focus your resources bot, but there's a whole storm going on up here. Lethal Cuts needs some help. I have him within kill range, and he cannot leave this lane. He only has that Ignite and the Flash. Red team are going to slay the Dragon for the time being, but Syosset with the Engage. Every single health bar on the side of Schenectady melting, and they are just going to be food and fodder for this squad here. Everybody just being so accelerated. They give the Dragon, but what they take in the lives. Wow.
Oh, Nuja does go for the dive there. Wanted to see if he could burst out that set before he managed to get the shield up. Well, Arcane Comet isn't going to do enough, but neither is the Ignite. Both top laners quite low here. Uja is still lurking around. He is behind that turret. We'll have to see. Can he get another Q off here?
I don't think
only 1 or 2 creeps left there.
I don't think he would kill at this point. The regen from the set is being so great. Kindle Gem and Doran Shield just getting all of that health and a little bit of regen as well from the Omnivamp in the kit. So yeah, going to have to be Uja backing out of the lane, resetting before Human Moo comes up and cleans him up between the turrets.
Kha'Zix finishing Howler's Claw here. Gonna amplify so much that physical damage, which in turn gives you even more gold from that first strike. It's not gonna be long until we see somebody pop, and it might be the Elise.
That's the core Kha'Zix build in 15 minutes. Able to just deny vision, able to maneuver and shred people down in fights. Going to be such a threat here moving into the mid game. And Schenectady eating this hook here in the bot lane, forcing the flash out of the Morgana. Fourth shot. Not even denting the Nautilus with the fields on.
Yeah, he is a big boy down there, especially with that aftershock. Gonna be a lot of health to get through there. And he's not even the one you have to be worried about. It's the Samira. Love Aurora going in on 1v9 Vlad here. He's gonna try and burst out this Mordekaiser. And with the Traveler's Claw and that isolation, is able to do so.
Easy, breezy, beautiful. Cover girl. Yeah, Kha'Zix, I guess. I don't know where I'm going with it, but there was definitely just the ease you see slicing through butter of that health bar. Only a Rylai's Crystal Stepper and some armor boots. Not going to be able to do anything in that 1v1 scenario if you get called out and caught out by this Kha'Zix.
Alright, Jin ult going through in the mid lane. But Kha'Zix is roaming behind. Maybe looking for a quick pick on that Jin. He's gonna jump in, does get the kill on the Morgana, is not going to get the Jin. Black Shield gonna make that a little bit too difficult. Is gonna, you know, play safe. There are big bounties here on Syosset. Like there is an opportunity here for Schenectady if Syosset steps too far forward to take 1,000 gold bounties into their pockets and even the game up. But Syosset playing nice and safe. Aurora is going to find Human in the jungle here. And that's another kill for the Kha'Zix.
Godlike kill, looking at the legendary opportunity before 20 minutes, and for now we'll just go back to the jungle, regen up, get these blue buff resources as well, so the threat is just continue on. Like I said, the core build is already there for the Kha'Zix. Not even gonna need to go back to base until there's about 3,000 or 4,000 gold, and he can just buy a whole nother item for himself. So he's gonna be able to stay on his back. Maybe he does have it here, as we are seeing him back. And let's see what he buys. Now, Justice rated Dirk. And huge penetration as well with that last whisper.
Yeah, not a ton of armor yet on the side of Schenectady, but that is future-proofing that Kha'Zix build, making sure that there is no clean way for Schenectady to deal with this Kha'Zix moving forwards.
By the time...
Oh, we haven't talked too much about it. We're going in for another fight. Nautilus is going to catch this Morgana, who has stopwatch. Versus Mordekaiser in the death zone. This Mordekaiser is still huge, but does not have enough to deal the damage to 3 members of Syosset and will go down.
And that was the Syosset squad without Kha'Zix really adding anything to the damage. I think I saw Love Aurora kind of diving underneath the turret at the Jin. Oh no, the worst thing ever for a Jin to do, just use that curtain call right next to the Malphite ulti in tow and ready to go. That was very quick work for Yuja there, and it might be the game-winning push. Honestly, at this point, they just have so many tools, but Love Aurora is pretty low, even as they do start to fill up these kills. I'd be interested to see if they risk it for the biscuit.
We're seeing a 19-minute game here. 1v9 Vlad is back up on this Mordekaiser.
Yeah, that's a no-go for them.
Some trouble. They will back off. We have Ocean Drake up, which means it's also Ocean Soul. And that blue side team with Ocean Soul is pretty terrifying. They all have a decent amount of inbuilt healing, the Kha'Zix, the Ahri, and the Samira. And then once they have that Ocean Soul, I can't see the team of Schenectady getting through any of them. Or insult to injury, flashing under that tower to get the kill on the Jin. 8th one on the board.
They just can't even walk. They can't even talk. And man, beam me up, Scotty, because this is interstellar performance coming out from Syosset, led by their jungler here. Now godlike on this Kha'Zix and definitely showing why they have peaked at 1000 LP Challenger in previous seasons on this game. Really exceptional stuff here in the New York region LoL finals.
There was a point in time in this game where it was 5-5 on kills. That was when I was mentioning that they were holding on to that gold point, and it has slowly just snowballed out of control. Syosset taking all the advantages on the map. They do have those super minions that they can get a little bit of extra gold on inside of Schenectady, but they're going to need quite a few of those super creeps to manage to get back anywhere close to Syosset when Syosset is taking all of the monsters in both jungles. At least trying to take this red buff here, but Kha'Zix is on the prowl.
1v9 Vlad gonna have to stay true to at least part of his name in this game. Prowler's Claw onto the Jhin. Love Aurora making it look easy with the trick shots.
Yeah, I was like, no evolved wings. Maybe, this Jhin can get out of here with that Prowler's Claw. Another little scrap here. Aurora looked like it was a little bit of danger under that tower. But
yeah, the
he's
position,
gonna get out.
Position was great by 1v9 Vlad. He was weaving away from that tower, very menacing lead, but every single person now across the map gonna have fallen one by one, knocking them down. Love Aurora trying to get dodge and dive away from this curtain call here, and we'll get to do it.
It looks like they are gonna push, try and make this the final push with the Malphite there. Whole team there. It's just a Jhin and Morgana. They can't do a whole lot here. Yeah, and they will stun up the Morgana. Musico is going to get pulled into the fountain and killed by the Jhin. But do they have the damage to take out this Malphite and the two fed carries from the side of Syosset? Well, Aurora is going to go in on the Jhin.
Oh my god. So confident to just do whatever needs to be done in these fights. Okie dokie. Sustaining through every person, getting the style ranked to S and getting out of the mess with no stress.
Well, that's the second time we've seen a low HP escape here from Okidoki. Knowing the limits of Samira, knowing just how much trouble that he can get into and still be safe.
You love to see it. I love to see the future of NA talent and how creative and talented they all are. It's just so amazing to see across the board. So thankful for every single player that's gotten on the Rift today, even though Love Aurora has definitely taken this game into their hands. Nobody should be disappointed with their performance. This is just what happens when a Kha'Zix supposed to be exactly what Kha'Zix was designed to do.
Absolutely. Schenectady though still seems like they're in good spirits. We've seen some guitar playing out of the Mordekaiser. Ooh, a great four-person Malphite ult is going to spell doom on this game. Everybody going down on Schenectady. Are even going to take a little bit of laser here in order to take down Fogbringer on the Morgana. First game, going to go to Syosset.
Well, they did that in style at the end, my friend. That was some League of Legends, the most League of Legends ever to have happened live in our faces right there. Full team wipe as the Nexus is the final prize there for the Syosset squad. I don't know if those were substitutes because everybody across the entire board there just really showing up, having an amazing game. Locust, thank you so much for lending all the depth to the broadcast that you did there. I mean, we're not done. We still have a best of 3, but Syosset coming out of the gate swinging there.
Yeah, and this is what you've earned if you're Schenectady. You've made it to the finals. You have this game to try and figure out your opponent. You've earned this best of 3, so you have this chance to adapt. They were holding on in the early games. We just need to see if they can contain that explosion that happened from Syosset in that mid game there. And if they're able to do that, I think they've got a good shot moving forward.
Yeah, well, we're going to bring it to a quick break while we get into the next game lobby, and I hope that you all enjoy the time listening to these amazing tunes. We'll be right back with even more of the PlayVS Fall 22 High School Championship. Welcome back, everyone. We are already ready with our amazing athletes in the arena, getting into this next lobby and getting into game 2 of the New York Region LoL Finals. We are bringing you the action live. Aussie Champ and Locust on the mic. And any takeaways that you have from game 1?
Man, we see immediately the first ban here from Schenectady. They are getting rid of that Kha'Zix. They do not want to deal with that champion anymore. Honestly, though, they did a decent job of containing that Kha'Zix in the very early game. He got that first blood really early, and they were able to stabilize and bring it to that 5-5 point. They just need to make sure that that explosion doesn't happen in the mid-game. So honestly, even if we just don't see that first blood in the invade, I would love to see what Schenectady can do when they're not off the back, or not on their back foot immediately at the start of the game.
We're seeing 4 jungle bans to start things off here in game number 2. You definitely can feel that someone felt some pressure from the jungle. I'm not sure which squad that might be. Yeah, maybe Schenectady was a little bit of jungle pressure coming through. I don't know if I remember correctly, but Syosset will be replying with more jungle bans. So they said, okay, we'll just take everything off the board then.
Your worst decisions will
And the Morgana as well.
Yeah, the Morgana taken off the table here. Blue side first pick here for Schenectady. And we're going to see the Viego. Okay.
You speculated on it. You said it is just going to probably be some Viego to come out, but it's not going to be in the hands of Love Aurora. It's going to be on the other side of things in Kindred, another ramp up and just non-stop pressure kind of jungler to be locked in by Love Aurora. That is going to be very interesting if that Kindred can get unleashed.
Yeah, and we're seeing this Aurelia here as well. This could be in the mid lane, and if that is an Aurelia Kindred for the mid jungle, I am scared for this Viego, because I imagine that Aurelia is going to shove that lane and help this Kindred secure her marks, and that is a scary combo in the early game.
Yeah, and then there can even be a roaming support added into that mix. We're not even sure what the rest of the Syosset lineup even looks like, but we know that Yuumi will be a part of this game, and we know that Yuumi is absolutely game-changing. Just the character that makes lanes so difficult to stay in. She has one of the best ultimates in the game, in my opinion. Huge AoE lockdown when she's able to get that lined up. So I like to see that lock-in from Schenectady when it's left open.
Yeah, absolutely. You were kind of mentioning potentially a roaming support on the side of Syosset. Schenectady locking in that Yuumi isn't the greatest champion at helping in those kind of roam situations. Well? So if Syosset does pick a roaming support here, we don't generally see the Yuumi at least follow those sort of roams. So it'll be interesting to see what support Syosset pick here.
Yeah, Yuumi caught in that rotation is just kind of a little loop pinata, just waiting for someone to reap 300 gold from. So, yeah, that would actually kind of be a little bit of a counter pick that they've locked themselves into, knowing that that is a very possible option to come out from Syosset here. So, we'll see what happens. There is going to be some more bans to come out. We already see the Caitlyn and the Ahri taken off the table. And a full time being used by Clouby here. Happy to see Clouby coming off the bench, possibly switching in from Uja, and going to be bringing things to that top lane.
Yeah, and we do see Schenectady here is banning a mid lane there in Ahri, so they're expecting that Aurelia to go into the top lane and expecting to still see a mid lane pick here out of Syosset, but that Aurelia, such a flexible champ, can go to either of those solo lanes and have success, so we'll have to see where that goes.
There is going to be full time used to ponder on this pick here. Shout out to the New York Region school districts as well, just fostering some of the sturdiest individuals in North America, just really awesome kids. I know a lot of these kids, you know, they're out there riding the subway by themselves, you know, 7 years old, and it just breeds a different level of human, you know, to come out and have all of those experiences. So love my time in New York and really happy to see the level of talent that they have cultivated there. You know, it is one of the most populous states in the United States, and you know, that is going to be so important for these guys to be above, the top ranks to be able to be seen by these organizations to get their foot in the door into that esports career, which usually starts around that age, right out of high school. And there's the rest of the picks to be locked in. Silas and Amumu on the side of Syosset, and then Tristana and the set, if I'm not mistaken, was the last pick from Schenectady. So there's our comps, there's our rosters. What are you thinking, my man Locus?
Well, first thing I just want to point out is it's very clear that Schenectady has a lot of respect for Syosset. They banned out 4 of their 5 champions of Syosset's last team's champions in that Nautilus, Samira, Kha'Zix, and the Ari.
Right.
So definitely wanted to try against something new here, but Syosset's team is terrifying. You actually mentioned that roaming support coming out of that Amumu. I don't know if Tristana Yumi can put enough pressure on a Kaisa that's alone in that lane to offset the advantages that Amumu and potentially the Silas and Kindred kind of, aggression ball that they can play with that, compared to like a Malphite Viego, which might not be the strongest dueling comp early.
Yeah. Tristana definitely has some tools to be a threat if Amumu does get careless and leaving his AD carry. So it will be nice to see if those explosive charges can get lined up, hit the buster shots and go crazy with the damage, something to really aid to this Tristana to start to break out from her competition. But if Kaisa's just able to solo underneath the tower, get the farm and the XP while Mumu is just disrupting all the other lanes, like, oh, that's going to feel so bad when we get into mid game, when we get into these fights, because Tristana will be at that limited attack range until we get very, very late into the game. And Kaisa will just be super mobile and highly effective because she will be over leveled at least 1 or 2 in that 15 or 16, 17-minute span.
Yeah, Schenectady, I think the player to watch, at least for me, is going to be this Viego on Human U. If he is able to get ahead on this champion, he has a lot of cool combos and a lot of high skill cap champions on the enemy team that he can take over and try and turn this into, an explosive kind of fight for Schenectady. You get dash resets with Silas, you get, you can kite people around with the Kindred, you get a whole bunch of dashes on Aurelia. Even a Mumu, you bandage toss in, you get that alt reset. So lots of cool champions for Viego to take on the other team, but has to find that reset first.
From the other team, though, you look at that Silas pick in the mid lane and thinking about the ultimates he's going to be able to steal from the Schenectady lineup. He's going to be able to have the suplex. He'll have the Malphite ulti. He'll have those buster shot opportunities. He'll have the Yumi ultimate, which is going to be game breaking to come out from him. So many of those AP ratios are going to be so much stronger to come out from the Silas than they will be from the Yumi. So it'll be locked down and it will also hurt. So it's just going to be so many things that this Silas will be able to just go through his catalog. What do I want to pick on today for this team fight? Everything here is pretty good option.
Yeah, both of these teams having pretty explosive team fight capabilities. Kindred alt is definitely something that's scary. A Mumu alt in team fights. But then, yeah, as you mentioned, looking back on the side of Schenectady, the Yumi alt, the Malphite alt. If this gets into the mid game and both teams are even, we are going to see some battles coming out from both of these squads.
Well, the banners are going to be raised here very shortly for these squads. I know the 3-minute spectator delay is very close to being done here, but it is going to be very important for Schenectady to come out of the gate swinging here. Syosset has set a pace and a tempo that is undeniable. They really showed that they have the tools that they need on their roster to get advantages and close out games. And Schenectady now needs to prove that they can do that here in this grand finals.
Absolutely. 1v9 Vlad showed some moments of brilliance in that last game on the Mordekaiser. Has another one of these kind of beefcakes in the Malphite. Have to see how that lane goes against the Silas. Yeah, it should be interesting if he's able to kind of keep that Silas down. Maybe Kindred then can't roam around and get as much as she would have been able to otherwise. We'll have to see whether 1v9 Vlad can kind of control that mid lane in this game.
Bill 1v9 be able to be his namesake? That is the question on the table. He does have a great team around him here to make that happen. We've spoken to the strength of these picks, and now all the speculation is off the table because we're right into the game here. Game 2 of the New York Region League of Legends final.
All right. And we are not, well, maybe Syosset is rolling down this bottom lane. They've got that Amumu bandage toss that is so dangerous in these level 1 situations. You've got 2 of them, but Schenectady showing the respect this time. Just going to drop the ward in the tri-bush. Are going to see the team coming. Going to take the gold and a little bit of EXP, and they're going to move on out of there. So already a better start here for Schenectady. Not going to take that first blood here early. We'll have to see what they can transition out of it.
Always good spirits from the Schenectady side. We even saw them bringing out the dancing and the taunting and the music playing as they're getting dove on their nexus. So just, you know, I'd love to hear the comms, get an idea of what these cats are saying to each other, but you know, can't imagine there's anything but some good spirits being exchanged.
Absolutely. Looks like Kindred is going to start up on the top side here, and Viego is going to start down on the bot side. We'll have to see whether they're just taking, you know, alternate paths, or whether that Kindred is going to try and make her way into the jungle of Schenectady here early.
Early game, definitely better for the Schenectady side here. Last time they had already given away first blood to the hyper-scaling jungler that was able to take over the mid game. So they adapted, they've done well, and now they at least are poised with a few moments here to get things set up for themselves, get things put to their own pace.
All right, seeing a few trades here in the lanes, but no large amounts of damage coming out. Actually, Wuziko here in the mid lane, dealing some damage to this Malphite already. Let's have those potions you can chug through. Alright, small trade in the top lane.
Not really going to amount to anything until those skills starts coming for the Irelia. She will be able to weave in and out with those blade dances and do so much work. Going to be on lethal cuts here to really lock her down. And now with the full stacks, going to eat the massive hitbox though. Not going to sidestep that.
All right. Tristana not being pressured too hard either. The lane's in a good position here for Schenectady, and Tristana is just kind of having a calm little farm lane with the heals and the assistance from the Yuumi here.
This is a great adaptation here to just really make sure that they can get the game off on a way more even footing here. The Kindred going to go make that visit to the bot lane. Amumu with a very aggressive flash and follow-up. Oh, first blood is going to go into the hands of the bot laner here. The Tristana getting a little bit of this action and going to get out safely as well. Huge first blood into the hands of Sasak Towers.
This is going a lot better for Schenectady. Trades all across the map are going in their favor. Lethal cuts in the top lane on this set is making some things happen. 1v9 Vlad almost pushing this Silas out of lane here. And then that first blood going to exactly who you need it to on this Tristana. Some great plays out of Schenectady here in the early game, in game 2.
Great job by Schenectady to come out of the gate swing, and like we said, they needed to. They are doing some amazing stuff, calling out Pushy there with that very aggressive flash bandage toss underneath the turret. They're going to be Albie walking up to Viego and forcing the flash out there, trying to be cheeky, hiding in that little Krug cave, but not going to be able to evade the gaze of Cloudby for the time being. Has to use that all-important summoner spell for his ganks early.
Yeah, I do like the amount of respect that he showed there, just flashing immediately, not giving Cloudby the chance to, you know, put out any of that, like, put out that snare. Oh, we got to fight in the mid lane. Oh, both mid laners going to walk away.
Yeah, maybe one more auto attack there could have done it for Wuzico, but it also could have been his death, so going to pay the respect that is due to 1v9 Vlad. Definitely one of the strongest players in the mid lane. Yeah, it's really amazing. Gotta hit them sideways angles from the bandit toss, but you forget sometimes that nowadays this Amumu has 2 of those ready to go.
Yeah, I like this trade back here from the Tristana, though. Not a lot of damage done on the side of Syosset for that trade. That bandit toss hit at max range. The Kai'Sa wasn't really in a position where she could come in and do a whole lot of damage off of it. That sustain from Yuumi as well, gonna put them in such a good position here, where they have so much more health than their opposing lane.
Yuumi lanes just notoriously annoying to play into. You have to kill this laner time and time again, and then you're not even really able to put any pressure onto that little cat. She's just off the map, still lending so much resources. Also gives a little bit of an AP and an AD buff to whoever she sits on, so allows this Tristana to just farm the wave that much easier. It allows all this harass to be that much more meaningful, and that's starting to show here in this top lane. It's not a kill yet, but that is going to possibly lead into one. The heal not on the Okidoki, but will not need it because stays alive with just enough health. Okidoki's so good at living the margin of the health.
Yeah, isn't going to secure a kill here, but is going to secure a plate and deny all of that farm to the Kai'Sa. It was a rough situation. Kai'Sa only had a couple of those cookies sitting in inventory, had no regen. So it's a great call there from Schenectady to just push her out of the lane. And they are going to turn this into the first dragon of the game here at 7 minutes. It's going to be a Hextech Drake going over to Schenectady.
Hextech Drake for Tristana that's already ahead of the game too. This is the perfect dragon to give, and then an ocean on top of that that will allow a lot of generation. They'll be able to grab that as well around 12 minutes, so it will be just in the perfect amount of time to really utilize it for the rest of a couple minutes of the laning phase that they can have it. Syosset really going to need to take the driver's seat in order to disrupt this easy path that Schenectady are crafting for themselves into the mid lane. In mid game.
Yeah. Wuzico is turning these trades around in the mid lane. They are starting to go in the favor of the Sylas now, and with that Malphite ult, it is scary, but 1v9 Vlad goes in, they're trading Malphite ults. Human almost able to find that reset on the Viego. Love Aurora is here to assist in the mid lane though, so nothing actually going to come through here for either side.
The Kindred not really able to find the advantages that the Kha'Zix was here in the hands of Love Aurora, even behind as well in the pace of that farm. So going to be important for Love Aurora to start to get these marks, continue to put some pressure in and scale up, because you do not want the Viego to be very much ahead of you in these fights and be able to just single you out, make you use that Lamb's respite without a good positioning or without a good fight behind it, and just kind of nullifying the reason you even picked this game.
Yeah. One lane we haven't touched on too much here is this top lane, where Clouby coming in has managed to take a 30 CS lead over Lethal Cuts. Definitely tough here for this set to farm when there's that kill pressure coming out from the Aurelia, but we'd rather have, you know, set be down a little bit in farm than dying to the Aurelia. So great job from Lethal Cuts here, staying alive, not allowing that kill to come through, but Clouby is going to go in, is low on mana, set with the ultimate, is going to flash out of the way. Oh, but Viego's here.
Up is nearby. Human move. Going to be able to pick this up. Clouby is the delicious treat. And there is a massive CS lead starting to build up for that Aurelia, and that is exactly why Human Move wanted to alleviate some of that pressure. Opening up Kindred though, he's getting called out in this rotation in the river. Human Move missing the kill that ultimately would have locked down Love Aurora long enough, but there is the cavalry to come in the Malphite 1v9 Vlad having no run with this Kindred, just gonna take her right off the map.
Yeah, Love Aurora kind of showing some confidence there. It looked like maybe he was going to get the 1v2 outplay. That Malphite nearby with that lost chapter too. That ultimate is going to be doing quite a lot of damage coming out of that Malphite. We're seeing more of an AP variant than that Frosty Gloves we saw last game.
Yeah, Mumu was supposed to be able to roam and supposed to be able to help with the Kindred in the mid lane, or possibly being able to just go crazy. But that is not what's happening at all. There's just so much pressure coming out from his bot lane, and as I try to speak about that, Wuzico having a great time here. Right, that's been set up. Aldi going to clean up the kill onto Lethal Touch, and then the last kill, double kill, into the hands of Wuzico there. But on the other side of things, heal at the perfect timing is going to save Okie Dokie. Once again, this guy will not die. It must be so frustrating to see this guy get away with 1 health every fight.
Yeah, and for how far behind the bot lane has been, and Kai'Sa getting pushed out of lane, isn't actually down that far on farm. Has been able to soak up a lot of that farm underneath the turret. Is going to be a little bit behind because of that plate gold, but that is getting traded back across the map here. Cloudby and Wuzico both picking up plates of their own in the mid lane and the top lane.
Let me give you a hug.
Very great stuff in the opening moments from both teams, exchanging massive blows. Definitely not seeing the Schenectady lineup just lay down and roll over after that game 1 performance. They are firing off in a great response here, only down 300 gold, but kind of opening up themselves to a big collapse here from Love Aurora. Going to get the hands onto this Tristana, and the Ignite will take it. Gushy going to take Sad Sack's hours off of the map, and that will be Tristana having to think about her choices, because you know that you have so many escapes, so many options. And speaking of escapes, this Lamb's Respite has still not been able to come out, because every time the Malphite is deleting this Kindred.
Oh, and Human Moo does get that bandage toss underneath the tower. Silas is there to assist. Oh, great dodge from the Aurelia on that showstopper from the set here, or for the face breaker rather. But Schenectady is going to take this second dragon. We'll be able to see what the soul for this game is. It's 2 quite early dragons here for them. Definitely putting themselves in a situation where they might be able to fight for that soul moving forward.
And there we go.
Maybe a Cloud Soul.
2 dragons in the hands of Schenectady, but what did it cost for the Viego? Everything. Human Moo getting cleaned up by Wuzico, and in the rotation, 1v9 Vlad getting all the Aurelia lockdown absorbed, and that is what's going to be Cloudy continuing forward, even picking up Yumi on top of things. Mid lane is getting bombarded on now, and what a great interrupt from the Tristana lead.
Wow, but Sad Sax Hours playing it well, using that Buster Shot to disrupt the rest of Syosset and make sure that we get out safely. But this turret is under fire. Most likely going to be that first turret taken by Syosset here.
Well, that was some very clean give and take from the Syosset squad. Even though the dragon was given away, now they will be able to stack Soul Dragon if they would like to. They can get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then have the soul on top of that. They'll be able to just move and maneuver around fights and choose when to fight so well with that out of speed movement buff. And then whenever someone presses their ultimate, the amount of just maneuverability that they'll have after that is just going to be undeniable. You're going to have such a hard time from Schenectady and trying to stay away and keep your carry safe.
They are doing a good job here, though, kind of scaling this Tristana up into a later game threat. 5-9, only down 3k gold here at the 14-minute mark. Turret plate's going down. Set is going to try and make a fight happen, but this is a big Aurelia. Is going to have to back away from this tower, just probably die underneath the turret to this Aurelia. Solo turret gold is going to go to Cloudy.
Yeah, the Rift Herald will get a charge off here. No turret platings to take, but it will be a nice chunk out of that mid lane for later. On the top side of things, though, Irelia taking a turret for the squad. And then just gonna go clear out the jungle, possibly be afforded a free blue buff, possibly just continue to make this whole upper region of the map her own. Anybody that comes into the jungle under the threat of instant deletion.
Clouby is going to try for the 1v2 here. Oh, get some dashes around. Silas does come in with that Viego ult. Human Moo is now the Aurelia, though. Almost turning that around. Love Aurora with that Kindred is going to keep team safe. And is going to take the double kill as a reward here on the Kindred as well. Almost an explosive play there though from Human Moo, taking that Aurelia and almost using it against their team. Sad Sax Hours is going to go in.
Smarted quite yet. There is some stacks to pop for Okie Dokie here, going to get the pop and going to get the 2 versus 1 trade here, but Yumi cleaning up pieces. Musical just so huge on the Silas stopwatch used earlier. Crucial moments to continue to bait in enemy and just continue to stack advantages for the Syosset squad.
Yeah, I kind of want to see the Magi's coming out of Uziko. He's on the 10 stacks of the Dark Seal. That movement speed coming out of Magi's can be so strong. Does pick up a... I don't even remember what that item is called. It builds into Zanya's armor and AP.
Yeah, so many new items every season now. It's you know, cool to Seeker's Arm Guard. Yeah, it's really cool though to see a lot of the new or the old items come back, like the Rod of Ages, and I believe there's another item that came back. Well, not Deathfire Grasp yet. You know, that will be the day.
Yeah, that one might not end up coming back, unfortunately. But it was definitely one of my favorites as well. Clouby is getting collapsed on by 4 here. You are a big Aurelia, but you might not be big enough to deal with that. Human Moo is going to take that Aurelia.
Yeah,
make
that's
some use of it before that cooldown goes down.
That's the roaming death ball right there. They had everybody with their eye on the prize. Objective bounty claimed by Tristana here in the bot lane. The very important carry is still ramping up for Schenectady squads. They are not down or out in this game, even though Syosset is starting to take advantages and become this very disrespectful team, as Shelly's going to get the charge here and the charge on the inhibitor turret in the northern side of the map, while the whole Schenectady squad is focused on the dragon. There's a whole base to watch out for, and there's nobody here to answer this. This is a massive siege that has been laid here in top lane, and they're going to get everything that they want with the inhibitor now cracked at 17 minutes.
Herald not going to get the charge on the Nexus turret there, but does do quite a bit of damage, taking all of that inside of Schenectady. They will get that 3rd dragon, which will put them towards that Cloud Soul, but unfortunately not a soul that's going to help them out that much in combat, just giving them that movement speed.
Cloud Soul, I feel like, helps the team that's ahead be more ahead, but it doesn't really help you come from behind.
Yeah, and I really like that decision from Syosset to say, alright, we're not really that threatened by the Cloud Soul, you know, we're going to take your whole base as a trade. Very clean play from them.
The way that they've lined things up, it could not even spawn. I mean, we're looking at an Irelia now that is way too big to be answered by one person, so they're going to have to continue to send multiple people here. And in a minute and a half, the Baron's going to be up. Kaisa melts Baron. It's going to be so quick for him to take that with the Kindred, and it looks like that might be what Syosset is poised to do.
Yeah, Schenectady does have a path forward here, but it relies so much on this Viego. If they're able to make a pick with that Malphite ult, that AP Malphite ult doing so much damage, and maybe some of the burst from the Tristana and the Yuumi, Viego can take over one of these extremely strong champions on the side of Syosset and try and turn the fight into their favor. Only down 5k gold, as much as it does look like Syosset are in the lead here. But definitely still a possibility. Uziko is going quite deep into the fight, is going to burn that stopwatch.
Yeah, he's dead for sure, but it's so interesting to see that the Lamb's Respite didn't come out in time. Going to be 1v9, Brad trying to 1v9, but not possible with the focus that the Syosset squad have. A good trade, 1-for-1, mid laners are down.
Tristana going to clear some of these creeps away from this turret. Syosset thinking about just trying to tank the whole turret, but it had ramped up and it was doing quite a bit of damage. Aurelia trying to TP back to save that tower from the Viego. He is going to go back and see if he can put more pressure on that turret in the bot lane. But Syosset does look like they're starting to collapse around that area.
Gonna see a level 11 Tristana very shortly here. That auto attack range increasing with every level that she is able to hit. Yumi, perfect timing to take a ride back to base. And this is Love Aurora finding Inu out in, trying to get back to base. Will be able possibly to hop, skip, and jump towards this Viego, but no, the movement speed too much.
Yeah, the flash is being traded there. Could potentially catch this Kindred without flash and without ultimate, with a Malphite flash ult or something. There are openings here for Schenectady. This gold lead actually, with that last play, starting to converge a little bit too. It's only about a 4k gold lead here for Syosset. This Tristana getting massive in the bot lane. Very hard to kill with this Yumi as well.
Yeah, has the Storm Razor now as well, so going to be critting and really able to top off that mana and keep things going without having to use the skills to push out the wave. We'll just be able to come to the fight with all the tools ready to go, and we're going to get to see this Tristana really get some damage dealt if that space is allotted for, though. If the squad by Syosset are able to just dive on and shut down that Tristana with Kushi and Cloudy, it's not even going to matter that there was any gold on this Yordle. They're going to need to really focus on that positioning and make sure that you give space for this area.
Yep. Cloud Dragon coming up in a minute here. Syosset has such control over this mid lane. I imagine they will rotate over and be the ones to take that. But we'll have to see whether Schenectady think that's one of their priorities or whether they choose to fight that or how that's going to go. Things will explode here in the next 45 seconds.
45 seconds with that ocean, the Cloud Soul being on the table for Schenectady. But as I say that, they would probably focus the Baron and hope that Schenectady rushes towards that soul. They really do start, but they peel off in a great time. He's gonna get a great ultimate. Everybody locked down. There is no chance for the Schenectady squad to get into this fight. Everybody that matters basically already deleted from the map. Just the Set and the Yumi left to defend these turrets, to defend the Nexus. The inhibitor gonna respond right now, right as the Syosset squad are able to just roll up to it. I'll be with very aggressive positioning there.
Yeah, and I just want to point out Wuziko there in that fight. Already had that Malphite ult, found the E over the wall into the immediate Malphite ult to catch the two of the most important players on Schenectady, that Malphite and that Viego. That combo so crucial to get Viego one of those resets. And with both of them taken out of the fight, Schenectady in a rough spot. Didn't actually lose anything too huge off of it. No Nexus Tower is taken, no Baron taken. They might lose this Cloud Drake here though. Syosset will burn through that extremely fast. No Baron, no Nexus turrets taken. You're still breathing here if you're Schenectady.
Right, once that wound had patched itself up of that inhibitor, it did get exploded one more time, but like you said, that's about all that they got. They weren't able to complete that Baron. They just now were able to get that Dragon. And in response to that, Schenectady have set up vision on the top side of the map, but Set getting called out here for being too far away from the turret, and Love Aurora is now on a killing spree. This is a huge Kindred now. 4, 2, and 7. Kraken Slayer and Wit's End already in the inventory.
They're going to get a turret in return here in the top lane. But you don't have any more turrets to trade off here if you're Schenectady. And I'm Cushy here. Just thinking about an engage. Love Aurora is just going to hop the wall, go in on this Malphite. He is not squishy by any, not tanky by any means on this full AP build.
Oh no,
And
so
they are-
easy for the Yumi to just cleaned up after those types of losses of life for the AD carry, but it looked like a very dominant position that the Syosset squad sat in. I'm be interested to see how they cleared out the rest of that squad there, but you could already see them forming up that lead. They took off the AD carry off the map once again, who had so much gold for the Schenectady squad. And yeah, that was just a great performance once again. A slower pace by the Syosset squad this time, but we'll get to see here how they able to keep this pressure on here in the base. TP to come in from Cloudy.
Isn't going to put too much pressure on Love Aurora, though, stepping forwards. Is going to get on top of that Trist and pop her, but is going to end up trading. Viego getting the reset. Is going to go in for Cloudy. That's a Viego with a Yuumi, and this is still scary. This is kind of the win con we were talking about. This Viego, he's taking these massively strong champions, and then also has a Yuumi on top. There is some potential here for something to happen for Schenectady. He's going to have to find those resets, though.
He has the maximum DPS damage as well. Blade of the Root King and the Kraken Slayer are there. He can delete squishies, can delete the tanky members on the squad of Syosset. And not going to feel really hard with that blade that he carries with those stats. Really nice for this build to come together for Human Moon. Will it be able to amount to anything?
Let me give you a
Yeah. Looks like Syosset are moving towards this Baron. Whether that's just to try and bait somebody out and make a pick or actually burst it down, they've got options on their hands. I'll have to see what they go for.
Yeah, they didn't see the Schenectady squad back there, but now they do take this as the go sign. It's been enough time without seeing bodies in this area, so they are going to supercharge this push here in the mid lane. Already seeing Cloudy chunk out 1v9 Vlad.
That is a small cat, very far away from the base. Is going to pop the ult. Oh, CC's them both, but is not going to make it out without Fogbringer. That is also a small Tristan, and that's just going to get popped by the W from the Kaisa. Okie dokie had a pretty quiet early game, but it's quickly transitioned to 7-1-4 on this Kaisa.
Bringing the action from downtown, just so clean, okie dokie. He's so resilient as well. I feel like we always see that low health bar on that character, but this is going to be the final team fight if the Schenectady team are not able to clean it up, and they are not everybody going to die now. And an ace comes out for Syosset. They have the Baron buff, they have the super minions, they have the members, and I believe with that they will have the New York Region League of Legends Finals 2-0 over Schenectady Bowl. You know, very amazing performance is going to be a Tristana that tries to defend and pop some members, but not going to trade enough, not enough damage. The wall is too big, and there is the final hit on the inhibitor. Congratulations to Syosset.
Yeah, what an incredible series. I loved the game plan from Schenectady this game, and it was so close to working. We saw some of those pop-off moments potentially starting with that Viego and the Yuumi, and at first I wasn't 100% sure about the AP Malphite, but when you think about how much easier that makes those, you know, those pickoffs and trying to burst down one person for that Viego, I really liked their game plan.
Yeah, they did an amazing job trying to respond to the amazing players that were on the Syosset squad. I mean, the ranks spoke for themselves, but their performance today was also just very amazing. So big love to both of the squads for coming out and showing us what they got here on the Rift. And with that, I believe we're going to sign it off and give you guys the rest of your amazing evening. Locust, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for PlayVS for having these fall 2022 high school championships going on. There's even more of them to come, and it's been so amazing to get to enjoy.
Yeah, I hope we get to see a lot more League of Legends action from all of these regions. Thank you so much for being such a pleasure as a co-caster, and thanks to all the players for the amazing games. That's going to be it for us. Big thank you to PlayVS again, and hopefully we'll see you for some more action shortly.